11? Is that right? Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be going over my July wrap-up. So it's time to find out if I remember anything from these books and give you a little summary of what I do. So let's get into it. I'm gonna try to do this in order of what I've read this month. So at the beginning of the month I read thrillers for a week. So we're going to be starting off with thrillers that I read in it. So the first book that I read for July was The Only One Left by Riley Sager. And I will make this shorter because if you want to see my full thoughts and opinions on this, you can watch the I Read Thrillers for a Week vlog. So this one I did rate 5 stars. This was kind of based around the Lizzie Borden case that happened, and this is about Eleanor Hope's family, and basically, I can't remember the caretaker's name. Kit. Kit gets hired as a caretaker to help take care of Eleanor, who I believe is in her 70s, and she's basically confined to a chair, can't move, but she is basically a murderer, or a suspected murderer. She was never actually found guilty. And it is based around this whole idea that Eleonora basically killed her whole family, and there's still some eerie suspicions in that house. And basically once Kit gets hired on, she has to live at that mansion with Eleonora and the rest of the house crew, because there is still a staff, there's a landscaper, a housekeeper, and there's someone else who I can't remember what they do. But she has to live at that house and take care of Eleonora. And basically Eleonora starts to type out what actually happened and tell her story. And there was a lot of twists and turns in this, and I loved every second of it. I did rate this 5 stars. This is my favorite Riley Sager novel, and yeah, I enjoyed it. So if you're looking for a really good thriller, I highly suggest. I will say the pacing on this was a little bit slower than I expected, but it was still really good. Then next up, which was another one in the thrillers video that I did, was Something in the Water by Catherine Steadman. And if I look at the pile of books that I'm about to talk about, the only book that I can think of where I'm like, I generally can't remember most of this book is this one. I rated this 2 stars. And I know I rated it 2 stars because it was a lot of nothing happening for most of this book. And I remember going into this, I thought it originally had something to do with sharks, and I wasn't sure if I should read it before vacation. But it has nothing to do with sharks or anything like that. There's no Jaws type-esque thing happening in this. But yeah, it was basically this couple who had just gotten married. They go on their honeymoon and they find something in water, kind of investigate it. The wife is a filmmaker, a documentary filmmaker, I believe. And then I think the husband was an investment banker. Yeah. It flips you back between the past and the present throughout the book, and I don't know, it just wasn't it for me. There wasn't a lot happening, and even when something did happen, it still really wasn't enough to bring my attention back to this book. And then I wanted a little palette cleanser from the thrillers, so I started a manga, and I did Maid Sama volumes 1 and 2. This is just a little Japanese comic. I love this one because it is just so sweet. This is kind of a rom-com, I would say, for a comic. I have read this before. I haven't read the whole series before. I think I read the first 6, I want to say. But I am trying to get back into it, so I wanted to start it over, and I knew this would be a good palette cleanser. So it is kind of like a romantic comedy set in a high school where the school president is a female and a male-dominated school, and she's basically trying to change the school for the better and kind of get more females into the school such as that. I did rate this 5 stars because for me it's, I don't know, it's cute, it's funny, and it brings a lot of memories for me. So And then I read something a little smaller. I read a small novella because I still was having a hard time getting back into reading. I don't know. I felt like I was going through like a little, I don't want to say a slump because I was still obviously reading, and this has been surprisingly one of the highest reading months for me in a while. But I felt like my attention couldn't hold on a book for a while. So I just read a short little spicy novella. So I read Gifting Me to His Best Friend by Katie Robert. And this is the second one in her little novella series that she has going on. I believe the first one is Your Dad Will Do. Let me tell you, this one took me by surprise. I rated this 4 stars. I'll tell you, for a novella, this was really good. The communication that is in this book is like goals. It's so clear and to the point, and they were just, everything about this was so good. If you're looking for a short, spicy novella, like, I highly recommend this. This is probably my favorite one so far. I'm not going to go into detail about a long explanation about this book, about what this book is about. It's in the title. Just know, if you're a spice reader, it's good. Next up, I read Daddy's Angel by K.A. Knight. This was a book club pick for this month. There is the cover. And let me tell you. So so how I just brought up Your Dad Will Do, which was the first one in the Katie Roberts series. This has very much Your Dad Will Do vibes. And it's almost like the first 100 pages are that. And then it just takes a complete turn out of, I don't even know. It doesn't match the story at all. So I would say the first half of this is smut, and then the second half is so much emotional trauma packed on top of each other. It was just crazy. And I don't mean that in a an emotional trauma in a book is bad or anything like that. I like that. I like being able to see maybe some of your own experiences and things that you went through in a book. But the way that this was wrote out, I just couldn't get with it. I don't know what it was. It was just so out of left field. And then something like that would happen and you'd be like, okay, so it should be fairly simple. Not simple, but there was just a lot happening in the last little bit, and it lost me completely. I rated this 2 stars, and I did a pool day with my friend, and we listened to an audiobook. So we did The Wedding Proposal by John Swansinger. This was an audiobook from Audible, and I think it was a short one. It was only an hour and 45 minutes, I believe. It was so perfectly rom-com-y, and I don't know, it was so heartfelt. It's about this girl named Hannah who basically, you started off by her wedding getting called off, and then she wants to give her wedding away that she can't basically get refunded at all or anything, because I think it's within a week of it that it gets canceled, so she can't get refunds or anything. So she wants to find a couple who's basically deserving of it and give everything to them so that they don't have to pay for it. They don't have to pay a dime or anything like that. She wants them to have it. She wants to make sure that they're deserving first. And so I believe it's at one of the catering places that she goes to. She runs into this guy whose family is, his sister is trying to get married because there's something going on with his family. There is a health problem within it, and it unravels from there. I don't want to spoil anything because it is a short one, but it was cute. 5 stars, loved it. Next up, I have another book club book, and I have Yellow Face by R.F. Kong. I wasn't sure how I was going to like this book, just because mainly I am a romance reader, and I was already struggling so much this month with finding any book that I enjoyed So I was a little worried going into it. By the second or third chapter, this had really caught my interest. But this is about June, and June is friends with this girl named Athena. And I say friends very lightly. It's more like acquaintances, but so Athena is a very popular writer and very well known, and then June is struggling. She's struggling to get any of her books published, seen, loved, all that. And basically they are celebrating one of Athena's accomplishments, and Athena invites her up, and something tragic happens. Athena dies, and June basically steals Athena's work from there. And this basically goes about how even if someone might not necessarily be coming after you, your guilty conscience kind of takes over. And so she's seeing Athena everywhere, and she kind of goes a little crazy from it. This definitely had a lot of twists and satire in it, and I really enjoyed that. I thought it was a really, really cool read. The ending, not even just the ending, probably the last like fourth of the book was wild, and in such a cool and unexpected way. It was so interesting, and I just kind of look at it as like, I kept thinking about how there's that saying about like something bad you can't look away from. So like the saying of like, oh, it's like a car crash you can't look away from, like that is this. And I mean that in the best way possible. This was just so good. I did rate it 4 out of 5 stars. I highly recommend it, and yeah, especially if you love satire, like this is a book for you. So now we're gonna get into the books that I read during vacation, and surprisingly I read 4 during the trip. I think I took 7, and I did start the 5th one when I was leaving, although I haven't picked it up since. So first up, I have Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you that this is my favorite Ali Hazelwood so far. I rated this 5 stars, which I think I've rated her first one 5 and then the second one 4. This is definitely my favorite. This did have a lot more to do with physics and physicists and that job title and world, which did in moments make me feel kind of dumb as somebody who is not in that field and will never be in that field. It was a lot to take in, but I honestly kind of like that a little though, because you got more details into each character that way, and you really got to see on some of the parts where they were coming from. This is about Elsie and Jack, and Elsie is essentially fake dating Jack's brother to make money. There's an app. So while she's fake dating his brother, she doesn't know everything about his brother, and his brother doesn't know everything about her. So Jack keeps seeing these missing information and just takes it as Elsie not caring about his brother, who he's very protective over. And they kind of get into a conflict from that, and it was just so cool to see. And I really loved their banter so much. And then Elsie has a job interview, and she ends up realizing that Jack is also a physicist and who she kind of has to interview through. I love this. If you put down the first 2 of Ali Hazelwood's books because you thought maybe they were a little bit repetitive, I would highly recommend picking up and trying this one. It is a little different, and I really enjoyed it. And then after I finished that, I picked up Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. And this book has been through it a little. It's very like flimsy and bendy, and I bent the heck out of it on vacation. So it's definitely a little pre-loved, or a little loved. So this is about Viv, who is she used to be a warrior, and she's basically retiring from that lifestyle, and she wants to open up this coffee shop in the town of Thun. There's some struggles along the way. One is nobody knows basically what coffee is in that area, and she's trying to find her place in the area. She slowly becomes friends with people and all this. Then you see some conflicts arise from her past that are coming into play now. And her basically newfound family can help in that area. I rated this 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. And the one thing I really loved about this was the takeaway of just being kind to people that you don't know. And basically that when you're kind to people, they repay you in kindness. And I don't know, it was such a cute found family story. I will definitely be continuing on with the series. And then I read Spring Tide by Kai Stevens. This is about Harper and Luca. They are both college students at Coastal U. Harper is in, I believe, sports rehabilitation program, and they get assigned to teams, and she wants to basically be assigned to this baseball team, but she can't because it was assigned to her friend, so they offer to switch, and the teacher will only let them switch if there's a conflict of interest. So she says she's dating Luca, who was on the football team that she was assigned to, and Luca ends up finding out about the rumor, and then he basically gets with her to kind of cash in on his end of the bargain and get something from her if she's lying on his name. So he's hiding an injury, and she helps him kind of recover from that, and you see them bond. I think in this it said Luca's nickname was like the Iceman or something like that, and he's definitely a little icy at first, but it was like kind of grumpy sunshine vibes in this. It was really cute. I did rate this 4 stars. I didn't give it 5 because I wasn't completely and totally obsessed. Like, I could still put the book down and be fine, but it was such a cute story, and I will definitely be continuing on with this series. And last but not least was Runaway Love by Melanie Harlow. This is a single dad nanny romance. The title of the book is quite literal. Her name was Veronica Sutton, who becomes the nanny. She is a runaway bride. She basically runs from her wedding because the groom does suck. He is a sucky person. He's not a good guy. And she runs into this town where the wedding was taking place, grabs a meal, and basically decides she's going to start her life over because everything that she owns, everything that she needs is in her ex-husband's name, or not her ex-husband, her ex-fiance's name. And so she wants to separate herself completely and to start over. So while eating at the diner in her wedding dress, she meets this lady, and she goes, oh, well, my brother is actually looking to hire a nanny, and I like you, like we're getting along, so why don't you interview for it? So she meets this man in her wedding dress and interviews for the job. And after taking some crap from the people in the restaurant and his sister, he decides to hire Veronica. I keep saying he, but his name is Austin. Austin is a single dad. Basically, he has the kids because once they were born, the mother decided she did not want them, although she does see them, I believe it said once a week, or not once a week, for one whole week, once a year. So you will, like in the summer, they do go off to go see their mother, and you do see that. This does have quite a bit of spice in it, so just be warned. I thought it was cute. I gave it 4 stars. I didn't give it 5 because of one of the like third act breakup miscommunication type things that happened. I didn't think there was really a need for it. However, it was still really good, and it didn't ruin the story for me at any point or anything like that. I still really enjoyed it, and I will definitely be continuing on with the series because the family that you get introduced to, Austin's family, the brother and the dad, it was so sweet, and they were just such a cool family to kind of see and interact with each other. And then the town itself was really cool. It's definitely like a small town. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody helps everybody. So I do recommend this. It was really good. 4 stars. So here are all the books that I read in the month of July, minus the audiobook because I don't have that. Overall for this month, I read 11 books, which is pretty good for me, and I am So thankful it was a good reading month and that I was able to read so much on vacation. It was definitely much needed. So I did say I would do a little recap on my like book buying ban / TBR count. So those of you who know me in person, you know, don't be shocked by this number, okay? So my total unread TBR count, physical TBR, is 386 books. So for this month, I read 8 and I bought 2. That's not breaking my book ban because I did say I would buy books for book club and a couple of other things, which I did. So I only bought 2. So my remaining total for the TBR to start the month of August is 380 books, which is still a lot, and I am working on it, I promise. I know I have a problem. I will do a little update on it every month. If you have made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.